Let's move on with our discussion. And today we are going to discuss about the stages which are used to conduct research. The first stage is problem identification. The other one it is survey. The third one it is literature review, formulation of hypothesis, research design, data collection, analysis of data collected, hypothesis testing, data interpretation and presentation, and the 10th one is report writing. Let's start with problem identification. This is the first step to conduct any research, and at this step, a researcher has to have a research problem so that he may have something to study. But the research problem itself, it is the statement about an area of concern, a condition to be improved, or any troubling question that exists in the society which a researcher has to investigate. And if you need to have a good research problem. The research problem has to have the following characteristics. The characteristic number one is the variable of the problem must be clear. It should be limited in scope and should be specific. It must have a goal, and the majority of research always they solve problem, and that research problem has to be researchable. For example, you cannot have the research that will be conducted in the whole country. So the research is supposed to be researchable, and it should not be biased. The purpose of research problem number one, a place of places the problem into a particular situation that defines the parameters of what is to be investigated. The purpose number two, to put a researcher on track. It means that the researcher is supposed to be fixed on one area which he or she has to investigate. Also, the other purpose of research problem is to provide the framework for reporting the results. Also indicate what is probably necessary to conduct the study and explain how the finding will present this information. Now we have to check on the sources where the research problem can be found. The research problem can be found in the society. Maybe a researcher has to find why there is a shortage of food in different marketplaces around specific area, or it might come from government policies, natural calamities, technological advancement, past research and literature review, interest and experiences, classification of contradictory researches, that they have to go and do a research so that the issue will be clear. And as we can see, national examination of 2019, question number 6A, it has the question which is concerning about the statement of the problem. You can go there, find the paper, and you can read it. So based on what we have been discussing earlier, you can answer that question. Then we have the other one, which is called per survey or reconnaissance. It is an extensive study of an entire area which the researcher may conduct his or her research. At this step, the researcher will have to know the problem likely to be encountered during research process. Also, it will help the researcher to know the method that he or she is going to use there. The issue behind the researcher visiting the area is to identify some of the problem and find the solution before. Maybe the researcher might find that there is a language barrier. As you know, that majority of people in our country, they are speaking in Kiswahili, and the research maybe is going to be conducted in an English language. So if he's going to use the method of questionnaires, the questionnaire method, they are supposed to be translated. So there are some problems the researcher might likely to encounter in the field. One is language barrier. Some of us do not even speak English when we are speaking in our mother tongue. So maybe a researcher is supposed to find a person who is going to translate some of the things. We will know the method to be used, the level of education of the respondents, if false information from the respondents, the willingness of the respondents. The issue behind is that he or she has to pick the method, the necessary, the easier method of collecting data is also based on the level of the respondents, that maybe some of us do not know how to read and write. So instead of questionnaire, he'll be using interview, some traditional believes that you should not count children, so has to find another way to solve that problem before going there. Then we have we move to literature review. A researcher has to read other researchers to know the current knowledge about the problem that he or she is going to investigate. Because let me tell you something, that a lot of researchers has been conducted throughout the globe. Research, if you want to conduct your research, you will find one which has been conducted. It might be conducted into different countries from other continents, but it will be there. The importance of literature review is to justify the reason for your research.